Billy's on his eyes and shit. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Undead Unluck episode... Sometimes I forget what episode I'm on, so I have to check. 17. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Sorry about that. So yeah, last episode we have our new members. We're getting things set up, getting ready to take on new missions. And we basically have 4 missions to take on, each involving a UMA based on a season. We have spring, summer, fall, winter. And so it's like, okay, it seems pretty straightforward. Gonna be difficult, of course, but pretty straightforward. And then out of nowhere, Billy just betrays everyone. Or rather, reveals that he already kind of has. We find out Billy is the leader of Under. And that he's basically been manipulating things this entire time, including with Tatiana. He's been almost kind of grooming her to use her abilities for the sake of his true plans, which we don't even know entirely what his true plans are yet. But Tatiana refuses to go with him in the end because she's just kind of in shock and denial that he's even betraying them. And I think if it weren't for Fuko being there, she would have gone. The fact that she forged that strong bond with Fuko is, I think, what allowed her to, stay. Because it gave her something else there worth caring about. Because Billy otherwise was the only person she really cared for. And it's because he, gave her hope again. He gave her a reason to live again, a reason to keep going. Which is why his betrayal struck her so hard. But I feel like even with as fucked up about it as she still would have been, I think that if Fuko wasn't there, she had never met and befriended Fuko, I think she would have gone with him. Like, she wouldn't have been, on his side necessarily, but she would have gone with him because of how much he means to her. But the rest of Under comes in from under the round table, and basically just is like, okay, we're going to snatch this table up now. We're just going to steal your entire ability to do really anything. And so, number one, the leader, I can't think of her name right now. I believe I remembered her name last time, and now I can't remember it. But she's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We need to get this plan set up. Andy puts forth a suggestion himself, and she's like, okay, that makes sense. We'll go with that. So you guys do this. You other ones do this, and it's like you have access to anything. Use whatever you need to, any UMAs, any artifacts, whatever you need to in order to stop them. And make sure they don't take the table. And it's like, okay, we're going to battle here. It's really wild, too, because we come off of the last arc with, getting our newest member of the round table, dealing with the mafia, dealing with Under there. And then this arc just basically starts with, sudden out of nowhere bullshit. And it's like, this has to be inspired by Bleach, right? Because Andy's entire thing here is very Eisen-coded. Not only is he a bad guy who is secretly acting as a good guy, who has an underling who looked up to him greatly, but after he reveals himself as a bad guy, he changes up his look. It's like, come on. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with shows being inspired by other shows, or I guess manga and being inspired by other manga. It's not a new case. It's not even new for Bleach to have inspired something. I mean, it's inspired a lot of things, most notably Jujutsu Kaisen. heavy inspiration from Bleach. So it's not a surprise that there could be some Bleach inspiration in here, and that Aizen might have inspired Billy here. And I'm very curious to see exactly how much those comparisons might continue. And exactly what more they'll do with it. I don't know if there's going to be, like, anyone else who ends up being revealed to be a bad guy on the round table. I don't think there will be. There's just not enough of them. Because with Aizen, with others in the Soul Society being revealed to be bad guys as well, the thing is, there were a lot more members of the Soul Society, a lot more members of the Sirete and all that, who could easily be revealed to be turncoats. Here, there's only a very small amount. I feel like it would be very difficult to do that with, you know? Comparatively. But the biggest issue with this entire betrayal at this moment is that they're only one failure away from apparently starting Ragnarok. And on top of that, they have a month to finish these missions. But they need the round table to do that. So Under's plan here is, it's honestly diabolical. It's one of those plans that is super well thought out. They're not only, like, throwing them off their game with this betrayal, you know, taking away one of their seat members, which also causes big issues. But they're taking away the table itself, which, you know, is a massive problem. They're basically making it so it's impossible to complete these missions. And again, they only have a month. So, if they defeat Billy and Under here, get back to the table and everything, they have to get another member and complete the missions within a month in order to stop Ragnarok from happening. That's not great. But I guess we should just tune in and see what's going to happen this time. I'm expecting a lot of great action with all the artifacts and everything able to be used. I'm expecting some really crazy shit. Let's see what happens. Let's get into this. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day, Horizon Forbidden West every Monday and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays are Life is Strange Double Exposure. Wednesdays and Sundays are Beyond Two Souls, and Saturdays is Nier Automata. And don't forget to click the link in the description to follow it to today's reaction. I redirect everything just due to copyright. Also, please subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's begin today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this episode was pretty much just the chase after and fight with Billy and trying to secure the round table and Apocalypse, but in the end they only got the ladder. Which basically means both sides are kind of at a stalemate right now, because both are needed. Like, Apocalypse gives the missions and whatnot, but without the round table, they can't receive them. You need both. So they have a month to handle this all. It's going to be interesting to see how this continues at this point. I'm interested to know how Tatiana exactly managed to attack Billy there, even though he was using Injustice at the time. I'm thinking it was because her sense of justice is saving Billy. Because we already know that was her goal. She wanted to save Billy, so unjustice would then be to attack him instead. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's that simple. Maybe it's something else. But they're also after something called the Ark. No idea what that is yet. But if it's like named after like Noah's Ark or something and everything, then, or the Ark of the Covenant, either way, then it's probably, it's one of two things in that regard. Because here's the thing. Arks were not boats, by the way. That's a huge misconception. Arks were more akin to chests. So it's either like a chest of some sort. Whether it contains something or not is unclear, but it could like maybe have some kind of ability centered around it. Or they do misunderstand it and have it be a boat. Now, as for what that means is still unclear, though. Now, with this fight, it was mostly them trying to attack him and use the power of unluck while he used everyone else's abilities as well. Mostly Unjustice, Unstoppable, and Undead. And he used these abilities very well, but it's kind of made clear that it wasn't quite at their full potential because he's never used them before. So he's not like he hasn't mastered them. Now the really interesting thing here, and I want to go back and look at this real quick. I can't put it on screen or have the audio up because copyright and everything. But when Fuko grabbed Apocalypse, it flooded her mind with memories. He specifically said memories. So the first shot we see appears to be Jewez and two others. I can't really tell who they're supposed to be. The one has like that round hat thing, like the girl from before had, so maybe it's her. But they're facing a UMA who kind of looks like the zombie one. But we have that shot. We see another shot here. Okay, so we see who the girl is. It's like some older looking girl. I don't know if that's supposed to be the same girl or if it's someone else. But she and Jewez are there with the scientist guy who has a massive hole in his side. And they look panicked and they look like they're upset by it, but we know he survived, so that's really interesting. Maybe he's a cyborg or something? We see the round table and it only has 2 people on it at that point. So that's like very early on. And then this is the most interesting one. We see VICTHOR. Like, not Andy, but actually VICTHOR. With someone else who doesn't look recognizable. Someone who has, like, these shoulder pads and short, like, almost purplish white hair. It's like white with, like, a purple tinge to it. But we see VICTHOR there, and that's really interesting. Jewez seemed to know VICTHOR, so was VICTHOR part of Union at one point? It's very possible. And then we see a shot of someone, it's hard to tell who, standing like in the middle of the city looking up at this bright flashing light. Is that VICTHOR again, maybe? And it's like, these are all memories. Apocalypse specifically says that he flooded her mind with memories. So this is all stuff that has happened. And that's really interesting. Because that raises a lot of questions about Victor. It raises a lot of questions about everything going on. Because it looked like the scientist guy was like dead or something, but we know he's alive. So it just, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. And obviously, I don't want to know. Do not spoil that for me, please. Because that's, I feel, going to be very important. Um, this is, I feel, going to be very interesting. Whatever, wherever this goes, whatever we move into, I think we're going to have, like, probably multiple battles with Under, based on what we're setting up and based on what the opening shows. I'm very curious as to what they're going to do next, because there's so much interesting setup here in ways I would not have expected. And this entire thing just didn't even end the way I expected it. Like, Billy getting away, I kind of saw that coming. But him getting away with the table but not Apocalypse, it's like that one throws me off. And then the memories thing and the mention of Ark, it's just like they're really setting up for some interesting things, I feel. Like this arc, in terms of like story arc, is probably going to get very exciting and very lore heavy, I feel. That's my prediction. But all of that being said, um, there's been something I've been thinking about, and I want to check something just real quick here before I guess you could say, fully decide here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. Sorry. I know it's like, oh, what are you talking about? It's like you're just saying random things now and all. It's like, no, I was trying to figure something out. I was trying to think about something because I wanted to be sure before I made this decision. And the decision is this: we are going to be taking a break from Undead Unluck. And I think this is the right point to do it. I was thinking, like, is it a good time to do it with, like, this new arc and everything started? But after this episode, with where it left off and the kind of mysteries and everything it left us on, I think it's a good point to do it. Plus, that leaves us with, since we came back to it, we've done, like, I think this makes 6 episodes. No, this makes 7. Because we started on 11, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and now 17. So 7 episodes since we came back. And that also means 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7 episodes are left. It's right in the middle. It's split right down the middle, so that works out exceptionally well. The reason we're doing this is because of a couple reasons. One, I think it's a good point for a break anyway. 2, I want to get onto some other stuff. And 3, there's just kind of like various things that I've been thinking of in this regard. In terms of, like, this is a series that I want to, like, do, I think, in spurts like this. Some shows I can get away with doing, like, maybe all at once or or a large amount at a time. But I think this one would be better in spurts like this. And We're going to try to get back to it as quickly as we can. We're not going to, like, hopefully take a long break. But I do want to take a break, and that kind of raises the question now, what do we replace this with? Well, this is a first impression continuation. And so the logical choice would be to replace this with another first impression continuation. The problem is... oh, goodness. Okay, that's not going to... I'll just use my phone. The problem is, this is not something I necessarily had planned for. It's not something I was necessarily confident that we were going to do ahead of time. So I haven't, like, I didn't make a decision, and I didn't have the wheel ready. So it's more at this point that it would make more sense to just choose something to replace it with. And this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets, like, I really have to figure something out, because I'm choosing. And without having had this planned, I'm looking at the list here of things we have. Which is mostly complete. But, you know, I think I might have a few things missing on my list. Let me see if I can bring up the wheel real quick. Just if nothing else, to see, like, what else I'm missing. Because I think at this point we are just going to do the, have it be my choice for this one. I have a couple ideas here. A couple things I would like to either really start getting to or get back to for first impressions. I just need to check the wheel and make sure I'm not missing anything that might be a good choice. Oh, cool, and it's already on the first impressions one. Oh yeah, I can already see from looking at this that there's ones that weren't in that aren't on my list. I'm gonna have to update my list. Okay. Okay, I know what we're gonna do. So, there's been a couple things that, with the first impressions, I've wanted to get back to. And I've been kind of, like, mulling it around in my head as to what I would end up doing in that regard once this opportunity arose again. And as we're looking at the list right now and just deciding, like, okay, just to be sure, which of these would I want to go with? And I think I know. I think I'm pretty confident at this point which one I want to continue for now. So we're going to do that. And this is going to start right away next week. I think I said in videos yesterday that next week was Thanksgiving, but no, that's actually 2 weeks. But this is going to start right away next week, next Friday. Or rather, continue with episode 2. With Blue Eye Samurai. This is one that I've been wanting to get back to. It really intrigues me. It really interests me. And I just haven't had the right point where I wanted to get back to it yet. And then when, like, I've spun the wheel for first impressions, it just never landed on it yet. So we're going to get back to it now. We're going to check this one out. And I'll reacquaint myself with episode 1. And we'll see where it goes. And I know I just changed, like, schedule stuff and everything. I know I just changed, like my mid-card, mid-roll thing. I'm going to have to do that again at the start of next week, apparently. But Oh well, it's what we got to do. So, yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Starting next week, Undead Unluck will be on break. We'll come back to it at some point in the future. More than likely sooner rather than later. And next week, we will be really getting started on Blue Eye Samurai. So, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Undead Unluck. And like I said, no spoilers, please. I want to remain as spoiler-free as possible, continuing into this last arc, and especially whatever is in the future of this series. For now, though, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.